Okay, so let's work on our final else condition when the question Killerman is saved and user has actually submitted the question. We just want to give it a thank you response. So I'll be working on to a very lazy condition. You should have checked more thoroughly, but I'll just say in this case is this dot state dot is submitted is true. Now obviously you should have also checked whether student name is being set or not. I'll just leave that as a quick exercise for you. Make sure you do that, don't forget that. What I'm saying is add one more condition and check with and use an AND operator to check whether the student name is being set or not, because that would be a prawn area where app could have crashed. Okay, so a quick assignment for you, and I hope everybody will be able to do that. And in this case we are going to just set h1 there, and there we go. And we're going to say simply thanks and calling in this dot state dot student name. And obviously if a student name is not being set, it's not going to display anything. And by the way, we have stopped our app from crashing by setting everything as just there. So notice if it's not displaying anything, and if it becomes true, now we are into the next condition. So that is thanks Killerman. By the way, I don't know from where I came up with the name there, but I liked it. Okay, now let's work on to our first thing. Let's make it again false, and let's work on a method that says on change and answer is selected. So what happens when the answer is selected? Now a lot of things are going to happen when the answer is selected. Let's just work on that. And basically what we'll be doing, we'll be setting the answer 1 when on change is being fired. So let's just work on to the answer selected, and the very first thing that I'll be doing is var answers is going to be equal to this dot state dot answers. Okay, now what I have done in here, now I have made this variable equal to this guy, so automatically I have converted this guy into an object there which contains more values and pairs there. So obviously now this is equal to this, and you might have guessed that in the end I'll be just setting the state to answers. That's kind of a process we all follow. So we'll be using a lot of if else there. So obviously we need in the answer selected, we need an event there because the event is being triggered. So if event, and usually in these kinds of button we get a target there, so event dot target dot name. Now if the target event name is answer 1, then what we want to do, we want to set this answers dot answer 1 to that value. Pretty simple. Okay, so let's just call this as answers dot answer 1 is going to be set to event dot target dot value. Pretty simple there. Okay, now what happens, we'll be running a lot of if else there. So in the if condition we are going to be again doing almost exactly the same. So I can just copy this from here to here, copy this, and I can paste there. And this is going to be my if the event is for answer 2, and we want to change this answer 2 to that value. I hope you're getting what I'm doing in here. Pretty easy. We are just looking for if the value is answer 1, or if the target is answer 1, we are setting the answer 1 equals to its value. Okay, and since we have actually used this on change on every method, so whatever the user is going to change, it's going to fire up a lot of methods. I know this is not the best practice from the load perspective, but it's not going to bother. It's a very simple and very small scale app. Okay, and let's go in here and let's just type an else there and use that again. This is going to be for answer 3. There we go. Pretty simple and pretty easy. And our final else if that is going to be, and I guess we have already done 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's it. We don't need this guy. We can just get rid of that. So all we are doing is setting answer 1, 2, and 3 in here. So that is all being stored in an object known as answers. So these are sub values inside it. That is good so far. Now let's go just below this guy And now time to set that. So this dot, you must be pro in that by now, this dot set state, and that will be set using answers, and that will be equal to answers. By the way, again, as I mentioned, we could have just said answers there, but I know this makes a little bit confusion for a lot of people. And let's just copy and paste this guy, or we could have just write a function there, no big deal. So function, again, it's a simple callback function. You might have used that hundreds of times in your JS. And there we go. And we'll be just logging this dot state. And there we go. Things should be working now. Let's open up our console, inspect, go to our console. And notice we have already set that to Killerman. We are looking for an event trigger to work on technology. This should be set to technology. And there we go. I hope you can see that we have got answer 1 to technology. Now if I just go back and set it to the design, the events will be fired again, and notice we got this time answer 1 as design. That is good. So we can just change it as many times. We can just look on that. So since our event is binded to all of these, it will be fired again and again. So and this is pretty good in here. And notice our UID is not changing. So this is for just one user in here, because we are not changing or even disturbing the UID in this method. So yes, you can do that, but this is not defined. Submit is not going to do anything. It's just going to reset because we are not doing anything inside the submit in here. Okay, so that looks pretty handsome there. So we have done quite a lot of things in here. The only thing that is remaining, what happens when the question is being submitted, and that is very crucial. We'll be doing that in the next video. And why, you might be asking, we can do this now. Now the reason why we are doing it in the next video, because I want to talk a little bit about the Firebase. This is the time when you interact with the Firebase for the very first time, and that is really easy. Don't get too excited there. It's just a piece of cake there. So let's go into the next video and do some Firebase stuff, and when the question is being submitted, we are gonna work on this to do. So let's go into the next video.